Well, coasters, it's Bruce here, and I'm with Merv Velenski. Now, it's a name that many of you know, probably never met him, heard so much about him, and he's the mayor of Jackson Bay. Merv, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Not a problem.
Really appreciate it. Now, tell me, what's your full name?
Merv John Velenski.
Did you have a nickname when you were growing up?
Not when I was young.
You got one now?
When I was in the services, yeah. It was the cowboy.
Cowboy.
Well, it was the way I walked, yeah. That's where I inherited that from. Yeah.
Whereabouts, when were you born and whereabouts were you born?
Greymouth Hospital on the 3rd of June 42.
Okay.
Come from Lake Moana, Lake Runner.
Yeah.
Parents lived there, yeah.
So, coasters, we've got a real coaster here. We've got a real coaster. Who were your mum and dad?
Eric Velenski and June Velenski. He was spent most of his time working in the bush up there for United Sawmills and
Oh yeah.
on the railway line for Brownleys at Ruru when they were hauled with the steam lokies from way out the Howbury.
Yeah.
And prior to that, he was working in the government printing office in Wellington.
Well, big change from government printer to Brownleys.
Supposedly he came to the West Coast for a holiday and liked it, and that was it. He never went back. He was a country boy after that, yeah.
Oh, I love it. So, did you ever find out where your mum and dad met?
No.
It's a bit of a secret squirrel stuff back in those days, wasn't it?
Don't know anything about that, no. Probably best to don't know.
Yeah. When you were born, where was your first home?
At Moana.
And is it still there?
No, it's been gone for 12, 15 years.
On this side of the lake or over to Kinga or?
Directly in front of the Moana Hotel below the public park there.
I know it is. I know the location.
There was one house between ours and the restaurant that's there now. That used to be the station master's house.
Oh, okay, and that's now the station restaurant.
Yeah, and there was one house and then ours was on the Ruru side of that.
When you were a kid, you know, kids today, they've got the phones and all the rest of it. What did you do for fun when you were a kid?
In the summertime, we spent most of our time on the lake. Usually on an old dry willow or something that me and my mates would roll in the lake and we'd paddle around half the bloody day in the lake. Yeah, I did a bit of possum trapping. They made their own fun, there was nothing them days.
It was all outdoor though?
Yeah, made your own toys. Trolley carts out of bicycle wheels and pram wheels and bits of 4x2 and apple boxes and get down the railway bridge, the overbridge by the Moana railway station.
Yeah.
And a bit of bark come off there.
That have been the odd disaster?
Yes. Yeah.
When you're a kid, were you much into books?
Not really, no. Didn't do any reading.
So, where did you attend primary school?
Ruru.
At the original Ruru school?
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
wow. And was there many there? Was there many people there?
Oh, I can't recall. Yeah, no, it was fairly big because it was a sawmilling area and farming. But there was only 2 teachers there and 2 classrooms. No, it was a fairly big school there.
Because Brownleys were pretty big, weren't they?
Yeah.
A big organisation, and United. You know, they were all pretty.
Kinga had their own school.
Yes.
The school at Ruru was for Moana Ruru people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good place to grow up?
Good as you'd get. I don't think you could better it, no.
Yeah.
Plenty of people had orchards in them days and You go and do a bit of burgling.
What about high school?
Greymouth.
So Grey Main?
No, high school.
Oh, what was it called back then? It was technical something or other, wasn't it?
Technical high school, something,
Yeah,
I
something
think
like
something
that.
like that, yeah.
And did you enjoy school or?
Some of it,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, not all of it. And we used to go on a bus from Moana to Stillwater. They had a bus stop there. And then a bus used to come from Naihiri Blackball and we'd climb aboard that.
So this would be in the late 50s, I guess. Yeah, late 50s.
Yeah, it had to be, yeah.
Had to be, didn't it?
Yeah.
When you left high school, did you take a trade or did you go to university or anything like that?
No.
So the school of hard knocks
Yeah.
experience.
From there to the sawmills.
Yeah, my dad was a sawmiller.
Most young people did. He was that or the mines.
Yeah. Yeah, a good choice with the sawmills.
Well, there were a lot of mills around then, and as often as not, they were short of labour too.
Did at school? Did you have a favourite subject at high school?
Yeah, nature.
Okay.
As it got you away out of school and into the bush.
I love it. Yeah, when you were at high school, was there a teacher that you can remember that you thought was pretty good, or even at primary school?
Yeah, primary school. Only teacher I can really remember would be Ben Jordan and Bryce Smith.
Oh, Smithy'd be right then.
Ben Jordan's wife, she taught me and a lot of my mates to play tennis, because they had a tennis court at my own, and then that was something I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Tennis, yeah.
I can understand that. So you played a bit of tennis. Did you play anything else at school?
Oh, everybody played rugby, yeah.
It's all part of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, part of growing up at school was playing rugby. They used to have competitions in Greymouth, I don't know where it was, and all the schools from Otera would put in teams.
Oh, okay.
And they all happened in Greymouth at some sports field there, and they had a big competition.
Big thing?
Day, yeah, and I guess the girls played basketball or something, but I don't remember, but I guess they'd have been doing something similar too.
How would a young friend of yours at school have described you? Were you outgoing? Were you a ratbag? Were you a hard case? How would he have described you?
Yeah, we got into a fair bit of strife. That was, most people thought it was bad in them days, but in comparison with today, it was trivial shit really. It was nothing.
Yeah.
Burgling somebody's apple trees or the pea patch in their garden. That was about as much as it.
Why does an apple that you flog off a tree taste so good?
Well, it's always better than your own.
Yeah, I've never been able to work it out.
And in them days, everybody had their gardens and everybody had their fruit trees.
Yeah.
I think they had to, or they didn't survive really. It was a big help. The incomes weren't over brilliant.
So, I guess there's a point in your life where you come along and you say, right, I've got to go and earn a living. So what was your first job?
First job was in the sawmill.
Were you tailing out or what were you doing?
No, first job in the sawmill usually you get is in the slab pit.
Okay, cleaning out.
Getting the slabs on the trolley and up to the burn heap. And usually worked up from there.
Yep.
I worked on the slab pit. I also worked in the fiddling. Picked all the logs up from out of the lake with a big winch, because the tuggy used to bring them across the lake.
Oh, so they were floated across?
Floated across, yeah.
Okay.
The sinkers were held up with big booms on bits of chain with dogs in them. The floaters were towed behind and they were unloaded, unhooked at the edge of the lake and pulled up in the mill. And you cut them up into the log lengths that suited the orders that came in, to the lengths that were required, depending on the log and what it was. Then I went breaking down and then ended up tailing out.
Okay. So when you take a wet log, dragged across the lake, put it through the breaking down saw, is it hard work? Is it more difficult than a clean cut log out of the bush, or the same?
How do you mean?
Is it, they'll be full of water, I guess, or their sap would be? No?
No, they're no different.
No different at all.
No.
And you recall recently that there was someone in the grey area who was actually pulling logs that had sunk to the bottom.
Yeah.
I think it was Ray Thomas or
Ray
something.
Thomas, yeah.
Yeah.
I worked with his father was my boss in the bush when I worked in the bush at United.
Oh, wow.
Old Jockey Jack, yeah.
Did you ever work with Gilman?
No, never worked with Joe.
Joe? He's another guy I've just got to have a talk to.
Yeah, there's a bit of history there.
So after the mill at Brunner, what was your next job?
I worked in the bush for a while. When I was 18, I left the sawmills in the bush and I went deer culling for a couple of years. That was in Hokitika.
Okay, is that for tails or for meat?
Just for deer tails for the government.
Yep.
Just shooting deer up in the hills. That was a good experience. You only got paid for what you shot. I was never very brilliant a hunter. I got by. I was never much friggin' good at anything I done, but it's like anything, if you battle away and keep your nose to the grindstone, you'll wear it down eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
Someone gives up, don't they?
Some do, but no, if you battle away, you'll make it.
So in the early days there, that would have been in the 50s. So how many deer could you get in a day chasing tails?
It varied. It depend on the weather, and if you got up to the weather was good and you got up in the tussock and the high basin, that's where your best tallies were. But when it was too shitty to get up there, you ploughed around in the bush and did a wee bit of bush shooting, and you get your ones and twos. You never got great amounts down there. But then if you'd had a big fine spell, you get a wet patch, you hung around the bloody hut a bit and baked a loaf of bread and had some decent scoffs and had a bit of a rest up.
Is that where you got your bush skills from, really?
No, I think that it was something we always had because we spent time out in the forest and that with our parents in them days hunting and shooting. We were climbing up to the tussock and going shooting up there with our parents and that when 8 and 9 year old.
Yeah, a great experience.
That's from the road at Rhoda away up Slady Creek and up into the tussocks and camp up there for 2 or 3 nights and come back down.
So that'd be a brilliant experience.
Oh, it was, yeah.
Now tell me, when did you first start dating?
Oh, mothers be able to tell you that. Seriously. I don't know when I met the missus. That was at a dance here or something, but she was work at Fox.
Okay.
So I met her. And,
do you remember the first date?
Remember I met her, I think I might have been up at the Bald Eagles at a party.
Right.
It had been before or after one of these dances they used to have up in the hall here. That's when I met her, and I think that really was the luckiest night of my bloody life, having met her. She's been a bloody good woman.
How long have you been married?
Oh shit.
You'd have to
ask me what today is.
Yeah,
Well, it's way up in the 40s because my daughter's, God, she must be 46 or 47.
So how would you describe her? What's her strengths?
She's everything. Everything. Nothing's ever been a problem to her. We've had some pretty big hurdles to clear, but nothing's ever phased her. She's the same. She's just battled on.
Wow.
I've probably been the biggest bloody trouble with some of my injuries and accidents and all self-inflicted, but she's always been there. And
always been there for you.
yeah, and great with the kids. When they were growing up here, she was working for Ferrens down the wharf here and unloading boats all day and night and still brought the kids up and looked after them and looked after me. Cooking and that because I was away. Well, when I was trawling, you were away over there by the Arrawatta mouth when it was breaking daylight and not getting home to clean up your last trawl of fish till it was dark.
Yeah.
So in the summertime you get much time to bloody well rest up. You made the most of the fine weather.
Actually, really hard time for the woman of the day, wasn't it?
Well, it was.
You know, and hard time. The men, of course, it was.
And there was no power here. Initially, we only had a kerosene fridge in the carport there, but later on we got a lighting plant, power plant. But you couldn't afford to run that all the time. You put it on in the morning and done your washing and stuff, and your freezers and everything got to run. And then at night time, you just had a 12-volt battery TV because you couldn't run power for a bloody TV.
Yeah.
Couldn't afford to.
So, Merv, how many children have you got?
Just the two.
Boy and a girl, or two boys?
Daughter's the oldest, and then Possum, he's the youngest.
And what do? They still around? They haven't.
Marie's husband, he's a builder in Cromwell.
Right.
And Marie, she makes glass jewellery. She's got her own business out there, melts glass and makes stuff. Possum, he worked in Aussie for years on the fishing boats, but he's back here now and he's done his building. But now he's running a big boat out of Milford.
Chasing craze?
It's Craze, Dennis Nine's boat.
Yep.
They'll be in tonight to unload. Reckon they'll be here by 4 actually.
Okay.
So they'll be in tonight and they'll sleep here the night. And in the morning they'll get up and start here and work back to Milford and unload in Milford tomorrow night.
So what brought you to Jackson Bay?
Well, I was at Muscle Point for years on the helicopters and
So was Muscle Point first?
before the bay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were one of the first venison recovery guys?
I wasn't there the first, I was there a year or two after it started.
Well, that's pretty much, you know.
Yeah, but it was getting to the stage where you were starting to take more risks to get your tallies.
What were you flying? What were you shooting out of when you first started?
We were in Bells, 47 Bells.
Oh, the old the mesh helicopter?
No, not the old.
Oh, later than that.
Yeah, no, these were the Bells. They were in them on. Illis.
Oh, okay. And who were you? Who did you shoot for? Who flew?
In that mesh, whether it was Hillis or Bells, they might have been Bells.
I always thought they were Bell 47. I always thought
Yeah,
they were.
yeah, they probably were.
So who was the pilot that you were with initially?
Shot with a lot, but I think that the best one was old John Charbrow. He liked his suds and some of the starts in the morning were a bit hair raising for an hour or so, but no, I had a lot of faith in him.
And you've had a few incidents that would have made your good wife cringe.
The helicopters?
Yeah.
No, she wasn't involved in too much of that.
No, I mean, but she'd be at home thinking.
No, we weren't together then, were we really?
Not till later.
Not till later.
Oh, okay, so this was before then.
Yeah.
Right. So, you ever been in a helicopter that went down?
No, but chopped a lot of scrub and shit down.
Yeah.
But no, I was one of the lucky ones. My brother Sam wasn't, so he was in something like, I think it was 4 or 5 that crashed and burnt in an aeroplane, and he survived all them. He was very lucky. He was 25 years on them, I think.
There's a message there. He's a lucky man.
Yeah, but he ended up dying under a log in Australia. Him and my other elder brother, they took a portable sawmill over there and went milling for the farmers, and a bush accident got him. After all that.
So, did you fly on turbines?
These were the old turbo bells.
Yeah, but did you get on the Hughes 500s?
A little bit, not much. Not commercially, I've shot out of them since, just when people have gone out to get a few deer.
Yeah.
But not, we were on the helicopter operation, no.
And what brought you into the fishing?
Well, I say that things weren't the same and the money wasn't in deer the way it was. And I had the opportunity, so we moved to Jackson Bay.
It's a beautiful spot, isn't it?
It is when it's good.
Yeah. Did the sandflies give you heaps like they give the rest of us?
Yeah, you don't get used to them. You bash away at them all the time, but you talk about other people doing it, you don't realise you're doing it yourself.
You're also...
You've been doing it for that long, yeah.
It's incredible. What do you reckon are the most important inventions that you've seen in your lifetime? Because you've been around a wee while.
Oh, that's a hard one. The home brew kit was an exceptional thing.
Right.
I give up doing that. It was not good.
Did you always have a fridge at home, Merv? When you were younger?
No, I can remember when we got our first fridge and my mother made us some ice cream. I don't know how she made it, but we thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like nobody had fridges in them, but although only the very rich on them.
What was your first car?
Mine was a 32 Model A coupe.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What a shame you still haven't got it.
I wish.
Yeah. And so looking at the inventions, you know, we've got TV, we've got internet, we've got all sorts of things. Any of them impacted on you? Because you're a bit different down here, and you know, you're right at the bottom of Westland.
Yeah, well, the only time I ever bothered watching TV was when I was fishing.
Yeah.
To catch up what the weather was doing next day, because you get caught with your gear in the wrong place, you can lose a lot. Otherwise, TV don't interest me. Mother, she'd been away, what was it, a fortnight, a bit more. I never had the radio or TV on for 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, so
Just not interested.
yeah, it's a bit of a time killer, isn't it?
Yeah, I just rock or something and bloody well sitting down watching. And there's nothing on it anyway. Cromwell's not so bad because we got Sky out there and there's some interesting stuff on history and National Geographic and,
Yeah.
and the Jones channel. That's exceptional.
Oh, you like the Jones channel?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's not pick on Shane. Now, Merv, you're a returned serviceman.
Yeah.
Where did you serve?
Malaya and Borneo.
And which forces were you in?
Went away with the Kiwis to and were part of the 28th Commonwealth Brigade at Malacca in Malaya, and there was a battalion of Aussies and a battalion of Brits made up the brigade.
Conditions tough?
Good in the military camp at Terendak. It was like living in a town, beautiful place.
Yeah.
Big sports fields and swimming pools and everything, but you weren't in there all the time.
Yeah.
The jungle a fair bit.
Yeah. Is the jungle, now, you know, I've got no experience in it. Is the jungle as bad as what they say?
In parts, yeah.
Can't get through it?
It's real bad in places. Usually your best access anywhere was along a bit of a ridge or a dry ridge or up a hill was where they'll always follow a ridge.
Yeah.
You can get on an animal track where you can get a bit of a trail.
Yeah.
But on some of it, no, she was thicker, right? Real thick.
Yeah, an animal track's generally solid underfoot, isn't it?
Yeah.
So a lot of your mates that you were with in those days I guess many of them would have passed away by now.
Yeah, a lot of them have.
You know, you're remarkably good condition and
Only seems like yesterday, but it was a long time ago, yeah. I went away in 63.
yeah.
I was just 21, I think. Yeah, must have been.
Young, isn't it? when you look at it, when you look back, you know.
It was a good experience though, you met a lot of good people.
And obviously developed friends for life as well.
Oh yeah, people from North Cape to Bluff.
Yeah.
You know, I still got a mate, he started coming down here with whitebait season, he comes down with 4 or 5 cobbers and they fish our whitebait stand up the Arrawatta.
Yep.
They have a great time down here.
It's surprising wandering around the South Island in particular where people will say things like, yeah, do you know Merv Velenski? It's like you're extremely well known.
I wonder they called me that. I've been called a lot worse.
No, look, I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything bad.
Yeah.
It's amazing the number of people that I come across.
Yeah, well, I had a mate, Sugar Bristow, he was in our company, but he was quite busy. He come down on a bus trip and he was talking to Ian Randall up the shop here about some stuff he had in mind that he was selling, and he said, Ian, who makes them? And he said, oh, Merv Velenski at Jackson Bay. He said, oh, I got no idea. He said that I know that name, and he served over in Malaya with us, and we called him the cowboy. And he left. He was on a tour bus, and he left a note there. And when I come in, Cromwell Randall give it to me. And I rang him up and talked him into coming down for a trip, and it was in the whitebait season. And first thing he said was when he came down the state, that on his trip through here, he couldn't believe there could be so much forest. He said up where he come from, they were sort of led to believe that we'd flattened the west coast and there was nothing left. And he said you couldn't see for trees. He said it was all green.
And you can drive for 3 hours and see trees.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people have been bullshitted up,
Yeah.
We've annihilated it, and really we haven't touched it.
Now, Merv, you've done a lot of whitebaiting.
Yeah.
Ever caught a decent catch?
No, I think Mother beat me. She got 75 k's or something one day.
Just on one tide?
Just on one shoal, I think it was.
Oh, you're joking.
Yeah.
How do you handle it when you get that many?
You can't. There's more going around than that one's going in.
Do you think that the whitebait, do you think there's less of them now than there were 50 years ago?
Probably is less, but nobody knows what's going out. I mean, I never whitebaited when I come down here for many years. And in the early days, you only had the buyers, like the Nolans and the Buchanans. There was no power, and people couldn't afford to run power just to take their whitebait out. People would take whitebait out if the weather was bad and they were going away for a few days or something, but the bulk of the bait in them days was actually sold to the companies who were buying it.
In the business.
In the business. So they could tell you virtually to the kilo every year what actually come out the area.
So the volumes.
But today they, excuse me a minute. Now with the power on here, people have got their whitebait sold before they come in. Restaurants want 50 kilos or the pub wants 20 or something else, and they've got their own power on and their own freezers now.
So it's a bit hard to tell whether
nobody will ever know.
No.
Within tons of what is going out of here now, and nobody will ever know. Because bulk of it is being sold by the whitebaiters themselves and it's not going through the buyers. I know what we caught the year before last, I won't tell you.
Good. That's good. An average season though.
It was
a good average season.
It was A-OK.
Now tell me, were you living here when there were still boats coming to the wharf? The shipping
Timber
boats?
boats?
Yeah.
No, that had closed down when we come here. Can't have been too long after it though. We haven't seen them, but no, they weren't doing that when we come here to live.
Yes, it was a great time, wasn't it? I mean,
oh yeah,
we'll never see it again.
Yeah, no, it won't happen again.
Now, you've done a bit of travelling in your life.
Yeah.
You've been to a place where you go back. I always love asking this one because
Yeah. No, I will never go anywhere again. I don't like them big crematoriums.
right,
I've watched too much of that aircraft crash investigation thing.
yeah, yeah,
And it's very seldom the bloody aeroplane. It's the man with a cold chisel and hammer or crew.
yeah,
Yeah, all the places I've been. But we've been back to Borneo and Malaya twice.
What's it like? My daughter went there once, and
Beautiful.
she said it was amazing.
Singapore's exceptional. Malaya's a bit, well, not so tidy, but the people in Borneo, and we travelled right from Kuching, now Crumpy Deans and his wife got the place next door. They're farmers from Colgate, and we went over with them. And made across the creek here, he was flying the heli loggers there. And we went over to Kuching, and Kelly got a people mover and a driver, and we right from Kuching right up to Murray. And then we went back for another trip, and we went right up into Brunei, little Brunei. And the people in Borneo, well, that's why I wanted to go back there, because I met them. We served in Borneo on the Indonesian border when the shit hit the fan there, when we were over there. And then people in Borneo and the people that lived in the hills would be the nicest people I've ever met.
Goodness me.
They were still running around with blowpipes and living in their old long houses up in the hills. The odd one had an old shotgun. Some of them looked they were homemade. I would like to have discharged them. No, they were beautiful people, and well, I've been back there twice and seen that, but apart from that, I think the most fascinating place I ever went to was Egypt, and went up and seen Masada above the Dead Sea, where them people camped up there that the Romans annihilated, and it was very interesting cruising up the Nile and seeing the old ruins. And it was the size of them that amazed me. It was a thing that I was always interested in, but until I went and actually seen how big they were, I couldn't believe it.
So they're quite huge.
Oh, photographs don't tell the story. You've got to go through them to realise how massive they are. Don't know how they built them.
Yeah, how did they build them?
A lot of people had a lot of ideas, but I don't think. Maybe they'll find out one day.
There's massive hunks of rock to shift
granite and stuff, and it's all polished, you know.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
Is there anything that you've always wanted to do with your life that you haven't got round to doing yet? Because you got plenty of time. You got anything still on the hit list?
No, she's just been back to England and Ireland and Scotland for a trip. Wanted me to go, but she was going with a cousin, and well, I said no. And she's been over there twice, because when my daughter and son-in-law, he played league over there, and she visited twice over there, and she did all Europe and that from there. And she wants to go on one of these bloody barge things that go up through Europe and up the canals and stuff.
I know some people, they reckon it's fantastic.
Yeah, but how do you get from point A to point B? You can't swim, and I'm not flying.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Oh, no,
okay, well that's a bit of a challenge.
That'll go on the back burner, that one.
Yeah, you'd have learned in your life. You'd have had some lessons that would be great to pass on to youngsters. What would they? You got any lessons that stick in your mind where you say, well, look, guys, don't do that?
Oh, yeah, well, Possum and his mates, I used to take them out shooting and educate them on the bloody ins and outs of rifles and safety and stuff like that. And,
yeah.
And the sea. Possum's on the bigger boat now. Well, he fished with me in the ice cream bottle up there, but I said it doesn't matter what you get on. Sea's a big bloody force if it gets up mean.
Yeah.
And you treat it with the greatest of respect. when I was fishing out here and it started to blow from the north, I was probably the first to make a move home, heading for home.
Because it's claimed a few, isn't it?
Too many.
Yeah.
And down here it can happen so quick. I mean, that bloody thing up there, it's only 30 foot. And I only work from the heads out here down to Cascade Point, which is only 12 miles. But if you work down there till it's unworkable, on a good day it's a couple of hours steam back to the heads.
Yeah.
If you're there and you're working till you can't handle it, and then a lot can happen in 2 bloody hours, and you're not going to get back in 2 hours because it's on your quarter coming home and it's a shit of a ride.
Yeah.
And it's when you get out to the heads here, if there's a big tide running out of the bay and running straight into that northwest that's coming in, they just stand straight up and down. I've seen me sit there for, well, it seemed like hours, but a couple of times probably half an hour, and just nosing into it, waiting to turn and run into the bay with it up my arse, because you couldn't get around. The bus thing rolled over.
You ever get scared?
No, I've never really been actually scared. No.
Because the reality is, if you
Got to
get
be cautious.
you get it wrong, and you're she's all over, isn't it?
But that's when it gets worse, when you've got the big tides running out of the bay, especially if you strike it half out.
Yeah.
It's got to get out and around that headland, and it's going straight into that big sea that's coming in. Of course, it just sharpens them straight up.
You get, there's a lot of people with boats that go out of Jackson Bay, and most of them would be relatively inexperienced. It's amazing that there haven't been more problems, isn't it?
Well, it's going to happen because it's obvious a lot of them don't have much idea.
Yeah.
I've seen them trying to get out to sea there when Gringo and Wayne Fitzmaurice, they're in their 45-foot trawlers, they're coming in to anchor up. And these joggers are trying to get out there to go fishing. They're in here for one reason. It's just got too rough out there.
If you don't know, you don't know. That's the trouble, isn't it?
And they can't really see from here what's out there. You've got to get out there till you get into it, because when you're in the anchorage here, running wide of the boats and across towards Neil's Beach.
Yeah.
So they've got to get out there, and they're not out there very long, and they're coming. You tell them it's no good, but they've got to go and look. But it will happen here, because some of the things they go out in are not the best.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So, Merv, things changed in Jackson Bay?
Oh yeah.
What's changed since you first came here?
So I think that when we built here, we were the first that were really legally built. There was caravans and bits of huts around, but they let these sections go here, and I got one, and we built here. There was one or two other places, but I think they were probably just squatters too. And then it was a big fishery here then. Trawlers, a lot of cray boats coming down from Greymouth, the Compass Rose, the Jeanette, the Bonita, the Marion,
And they're all fishing
Debbie
out of,
Jane.
here?
They will come down here and just live on their boats for the cray season.
Yeah.
And just do the crays and then go trawling. I've lost count of the names. And then most of these houses here were fishermen's houses, but then the quotas come in and companies started buying quota, and there's a fair bit of bullshit involved with fishing today, with paperwork and that. I couldn't handle it.
So tell me, the wharf. Yeah, you know, I often walk down the wharf and have a look, and to my inexperienced eye, it's looking like it's getting worse.
Needs a lot of work done on it now, very bad. You've got to get under it at low tide in a good sea to have a look. It's quite a few of the braces are broken and fallen off. Beams fell off underneath. needs a fair bit of major work done on it.
I think it was Peter Talley who said to a group of us, look, if you lose it, you'll never get it back.
I wouldn't think so. I mean, what's there is basics are stable enough. It's just the bracing and that wants a lot of work doing on it more than anything, and strengthen it up.
And is there a future for the wharf? Is there a future for Jackson Bay with fishing? Or with
nobody knows what's going to happen down the line.
No, that's true.
In the fishery. That's what I've always said. I mean, years ago, I don't know what the local fleet was here. Mother would probably be able to. I just wouldn't like to think that it was big. And then there was all the greymouth boats that came down here, and just fished the crays. But one tuna season, apart from the local fleet out there, there was 72 or 75 boats anchored out there one night. It was like bloody Kowloon Harbour. There was trucks and things and forklifts going all night, clearing the fish.
Yeah, would that be tuna?
Yeah, tuna boats.
And we've just come through the tuna season. What was this one like?
Oh no, they're still going. They're
still
only
going.
starting to get them off. I was talking to Terry Wedding the other night, and he'd been down the Hopi Trench. He come in with 1.5 tons, and the other boys probably had a bit, at least that or a bit more. And he said it was looking pretty good. And I'd say with the weather, they'll be back out there now. They would have got out yesterday morning probably.
Yeah.
They'll be back out there now, and this supposedly this bit of shit that's hovering around, I don't think it's going to amount to nothing. They'll stay out there and fill up again.
Well, we're meant to get it tomorrow, but it doesn't look that bad
Doesn't
to me.
look bad to me, no. But no, that people say the tuna is another fishery that's buggered, but it depends on the water temperatures around the globe where these bloody things start, whether they get here or they don't. They only follow the warm waters, and it depends on the direction they go as to where the bloody fish go. And down the line, it could be, next year could be as good a season as you've ever had. You don't know. Oh, look what's happened to the crayfish in this area.
Yeah,
Best fishery in New Zealand.
Yeah, I mean it's incredible. I mean, but that's a lot of that's to do with the way you guys in the industry have actually managed it in a way that where you haven't killed it.
The quota systems is a great thing, and because you're only allowed to take a certain ton, commercial fishermen are only allowed to take a certain tonnage out of the area each year, and then that's closed up. That's it.
That's it.
So it'll always be there.
So you were area 8 here, aren't you? Is it area 8?
7 or 8.
7 or 8, yeah. And it's reputed to be the best managed and the best fisheries in the country.
In New Zealand.
Yeah, I think that's.
Wanted to sell your quota now. I think nobody had let it go for less than 1.5 million a tonne. That's what it's worth to sell.
Really?
Yeah. So if you want to get into the crayfish industry, you've got to buy 3 tonne. Because you're not allowed to start fishing unless you own 3 tonne or lease 3 tonne. Then
So you're at 4.5 million to get in for kick-off before you've got a boat.
That's without your boat, your pots and your gear.
Goodness me.
And then when you start fishing, you got to start paying levies and Maritime Safety Authority and all the crap that goes with it. And you wish to Christ you'd never started.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's life in New Zealand these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Health and safety,
Yeah.
consents, resource consents, building consents, fishing consents, MAF, compliance like you wouldn't believe. It's a
Not many days you wouldn't like to bend somebody over.
There you go. Yeah, I'm not happy about that. Well, look, Merv, thanks so much for chatting with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
The one last thing before we knock it on the head, you're incredibly well known for your skills with stone.
Yeah.
Whatever started that? What started you on that track?
Well, I always was interested in it, but the biggest part of my life I had my bloody head in a noose. Then the family come first, and it wasn't till they were sort of off my hands that I got into some stone and started cutting it and making stuff. I'll show you some. Have a look at these in here, these bowls.
Now we'll just finish this off here. So look, I'll Merv, look down, and we'll just.
Yep.
So Merv, what's bluestone?
That's from up the Jacobs River. I think they call it kyanite, but they now call it aotea stone.
Right.
But the rights of that have been given to the Maoris now. You can't go and get it.
Oh, so the same as Punamu and Serpentine?
Yeah.
Okay.
The old frigger that used to live at Jacobs River, he used to have tons of it there. When he meat hunted up there, he used to cart it out. In the early days, he gave me a shitload of it. He said, you can find a market for it. Nobody wanted it.
Yeah.
Now everybody wants it. Stones off the beach.
Oh, that's beautiful. So did you slice that in half?
Yeah.
And then polish the centre?
Hollowed them out, yeah. Here's a little one from Cromwell. Look at the colours in that.
John says Don Brash's views are totally predicated on the
Wow.
idea of assimilation, not integration, as...
No, stones are fascinating things. You can bug around with them, and
But I suppose, Ian, as you said, there was quite a...
you never really know what you got until you've opened them up. You get an idea, but you're not always right. And then sometimes I make the little tables up. I'll show you out in the shed one of them. But no, I get out in the shed and I start playing with this stuff, and I'm here by myself. I'll go out 8:30 in the morning. I might come in to cook me tea at night.
Let's go and have a look.
You just got to keep going. So I give one to her for them, and I give one to the school to raffle off for the school. I never found out what they got for them, but the one that they raffled off, Helene was running it, and when they drew the raffle, stuffed me dead, she won it.
Oh no!
And she said, look, you better draw it again, because she said, this won't look good when
Oh, the
I'm
poor
organising
thing.
this."
So you take the old Singer, the base of the Singer sewing machine,
Yeah.
and then you put a top on
I'll
it.
show you out here.
Right.
Process of polishing there. That's a
Wow.
conglomerate off the beach.
So that's just a rock, isn't it? Basically, it's not.
I'll brush this off and show you this here.
Oh, look at that.
Well, that's what the ones on the sewing machine legs are like. But I only make them, they're that long, but they're only that wide. And I sew
that's
them on
beautiful.
the old sewing machine leg, yeah.
So if someone comes down to Jackson Bay, can they call in and say hello?
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Oh, that's beautiful. Goodness me. Oh, just look at that.
That's me mate Terry's. He made that and he couldn't polish it. So I'm just polishing it for him. I just got to do the edges now. Did you see these pink ones here? These make the nicest bowls. When you hollow them out, you got all them grey and red and white lines there.
Right.
When you hollow them out and you look into them, you get all these different coloured rings, and they get smaller as it gets to the bottom.
Oh, they look brilliant.
Oh, they look bloody lovely, yeah.
You're a clever man, Merv.
No, I'm just patient. You've got to be. You can't hurry this stuff, and you just. This is where I learnt to take your bloody time, because you can't hurry this diamond stuff. Cuts at its own speed, and you just got to worry away like an old dog, and you'll beat it.
Well, coasters,
Yep.
I'm gonna sign this interview off now. This is Merv Velenski. He's a coaster, Jackson Bay, southwestern man, and we have 22,500 members. This interview will be seen across 6 separate interviews on our Facebook page. It'll also be on, the full interview is on our YouTube channel, or it will be, and a copy of it is at the Hokitika Museum. So if any of you ever want to have a look at it, don't panic. And Merv, thanks so much for talking to me. Really appreciate it.
More than welcome.